The Tim Walz Matrix. There's all sorts of movies that I don't think still get enough credit for what they saw coming. You know, I talk often about the Hunger Games, and we were up at some friend's house, and they homeschool their kids, and their son's 12 years old, super smart kid, so smart. He was reading the Hunger Games, and we got to talk about this, and I called it the most important piece of political commentary of our era, and I do believe that in terms of fictional commentary. The Matrix, that movie, it gets a lot of acclaim for AI and this whole fear of AI, and are they going to end up using us as batteries? And it's an interesting movie. It's also interesting from the perspective of people living within an artificial intelligence, an artificial reality. That's sort of the plot of the film, right? Keanu Reeves comes to realize that he's asleep in some prebiotic goo, and he's just a battery, and everything he's experienced thus far has just been images put into his mind by these robots, these computers who want him to believe he's living. But there's a Tim Walz Matrix. And the Tim Walz Matrix is that anyone who gets into these positions is ever going to take any responsibility for anything that ever happens. That's a matrix. And it's a sweet dream. People are still plugged into the idea that there is some willingness to take responsibility or even good intent in someone like Tim Walz. When you have someone like Tim Walz who pretended, and everybody knows he pretended, to change the oil in a truck, everybody knows there was nothing on his hands. You cannot change an oil filter in a truck or change the oil or work on things without getting stuff on your hands. It can't be done unless you have steam washed the engine first, and he didn't do that. It can't be done. When you have people like him and Chucky Schumer who is pretending to eat hamburgers that weren't cooked because he's slapping the cheese on top of hamburgers that are, 3/4 raw, that's how you eat them, everybody knows it's a lie. Everybody knows that Cammie Harris was not cooking Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody knows that Lizzie, that the fake Indian, fake Native American Liz, doesn't go out and drink beers. Hey, let's do the human thing, right? That didn't happen. So everybody knows Tim Walz is faking accountability, right? They don't, because we still live in this matrix. Part of the matrix is people dress up in their matrix suit. Tim Walz dresses up in a matrix suit. It's a suit of respectability. He calls himself governor. He's not governor. He doesn't act like a governor. He acts like a dictator. When it's a bad flu, he dictates. When he is allowing people to come into his state and take over, that's a pretense, right? The matrix is, well, but he's wearing a suit. He's called governor. No, he's set up a mini Somalia. He set it up for personal interest. He set it up for personal gain. These people have been brought in. Now they're very loyal to him. He went so far as to unveil a new flag for the state of Minnesota that looks a lot like the flag of Somalia. Interesting that he did that, isn't it? And in this matrix we have, the Tim Walz matrix, we also have the Gavin Newsom matrix. In the Gavin Newsom matrix, he means well. He's just a guy who has some bad ideas from time to time. He makes some mistakes. No, because they're always consistent. See, when you're dealing with someone who's incompetent from time to time, they're going to do things right. From time to time, their error is going to err on being too hard on crime, or being too hard on immigrants or something like that. That's not what happens. See, in the Tim Walz matrix, the belief is because he's wearing the suit that he means well and he's going to take accountability. And I'll show you an example of this in just a second. We all take accountability for our decisions. We all should. One of your decisions is how you live life in regard to what you bring into your home. You make a decision to support big companies that may well hate your values, and it's on things that you're going to use for the rest of your life that's easy enough to change. One of them is soap. If you go through how you care for your body and you cleanse your body, I'm going to bet you're using soap from a soap company that hates your values, that doesn't believe all lives matter, that tests their products on people or human beings like in China. On the other hand, there's Allen Soap. It's made in America by a family of 3 generations of soap making expertise. It's all natural, no chemicals, unique fragrances, fragrance-free, and it has a mission far greater than soap. It is to employ people like Allen. He's not just the namesake of the company. He works there every single day, and he probably couldn't work anywhere else because the rest of the world would say that Allen isn't worth having. He is. He's inventive. He may not be able to speak, but he's able to produce. It's allensoaps.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd to get 10% off all their products. It's allensoaps.com/Todd. The Tim Walz Matrix. He goes on TV and performs a little drama. Will he accept responsibility for the massive amount of fraud that came out of his state?
Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state? Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy. And as you heard Senator Kelly say, this president has cut a lot of inspector generals. He's cut programs that could help us take.
Tim Walz is refusing to release the data. He's refusing to release SNAP data. He's refusing to release COVID relief fund data. He's refusing to let the feds compare it to the databases. He's refusing to allow them to do a full investigation. He doesn't want to show this. And there he is. Look how he's dressed up. Dark blue suit, slightly lighter blue tie, almost all the way up to the top. Tim can never get things exactly right. Oh, and look there, a flag on the lapel. It's a Tim Walz matrix. Certainly he means well.